reform and housing are the two main sticking points as lawmakers in Albany try to hammer out a state budget deal. For the second time, lawmakers approved a deadline extension on Monday after returning from the Easter Passover holiday break.
That's right. So the state budget already 12 days late, but now lawmakers have until next Monday to negotiate a deal. Joining us this morning is State Assemblywoman Latrice Walker, who represents District 55 in Brownsville, Brooklyn. So good morning, Assemblywoman Walker. Good to see you.
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
So we've talked about this in the past, right? It seems like I was having this very conversation with you last year about the budget. How close are you to these negotiations and actually moving forward with a budget? Are you optimistic one will be done this week?
I believe that we're still very heavily involved in negotiations. There are two things that are presently on the table. One, of course, is the rollback of the least restrictive measures as a standard. The least restrictive measures, the governor is saying the judges are confused.
You're talking about bail reform.
Yes. Even though the chief judge has indicated that judges are not confused by least restrictive measures as a terminology, there's a look back to trying to look at the kind and degree of control or restriction that is necessary to ensure a principal's return to court. That was the 1967 standard that was implemented in New York State's original bail laws. And so what we're seeing is tantamount to a repeal of our bail laws. Return to court has always been the standard with respect to securing a person's return to court as necessary to go through a criminal trial. We know that when excessive bail is placed on people, it is a life in Rikers Island where we saw 36 people die over the past 2 years. So these are pretrial convictions to death for those 36 individuals. There have been over 225 wrongful convictions in Kings County alone. What the prosecutors utilize, time spent in jail pretrial or pretrial detention as a place for plea bargaining or to force plea bargains, even in the face where individuals have not committed the underlying crime, but based on poverty, lack of access to housing, and trying to get back to work and their families, they will take these pleas in order to move on with their lives, subjecting them to lots more turmoil. So we know that bail reform has been working because people have been returning to court, as have been evidenced by the over 80% of Black and brown people who are incarcerated in our prisons across the state of New York.
I mean, obviously you feel very strongly about this, and so much so that you've gone on a hunger strike. So how long do you plan to keep this up? Is there any compromise point for you?
Well, last year I did a 19-day hunger strike, which concluded at the closure of the budget. I am willing to fast for justice as long as it takes in order to continue along in this fight. Before, it was to prevent dangerousness to be included as a factor. But here, one of the conditions that are being looked at is whether or not a person previously complied with court conditions. Now, most people who don't come to court, it's not the first or the second time that appearance is on. It's after the 6th or the 7th time when they can no longer go to their employer because there are no more days off, there are no more vacation days, there are no more sick time. And so we have a speedy trial and a discovery issue because cases are just taking too long to come to conclusion.
Yeah, so let me ask you this, right? Because we're at the stalemate now between you and the governor. Your vote is one of just many, right? So where is the rest of your party when it comes to bail reform? Are they for the tweaks? Are they against the tweaks? How do you see this playing out in the end?
Well, I believe that everyone comes to the table with their own talent, skill, expertise, experiences, lived experiences, as well as the experiences of their constituents. And so the Democratic Party is not monolithic. And so we are not all on the same page, but there are a number of individuals, including 22 of my colleagues who have so far signed on to a letter which indicates that we are not interested in the governor's proposed tweaks or rollbacks to bail reform.
Well, I know that housing is also an issue, but the big question is, if a state budget isn't passed by Monday, there's more than 80,000 state employees that could be affected. So are you confident at all? Are you not hopeful that this deal could be reached? What's your feeling?
So in the past, we understand that there was a budget that wasn't concluded all the way through August. However, the legislature reconvenes in order to pay the bills of the state. And so we are laser focused on not balancing the budget on the backs and the lives of everyday people who are entitled to due process. And I remain committed to that. And I encourage my colleagues to not move forward with these proposed changes. I believe that this conversation should be taken outside of the budget, and let's handle the fiscal responsibility of our state and not play around with politics, which is not based on data. And every report that has come out has shown that bail reform is working. Rearrests are down. Court appearances are up. And quite frankly, what we've done is sound legal argument. And so I'm committed to ensuring that all of the tenets that we have supported thus far continues to remain in existence.
All right, we'll see how all of this plays out. Keep us posted, okay?
Awesome. Thank you so much, and thanks for having me.
Good to see you as always, Assemblywoman. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.